I was just asking if you had any ideas, or if you actually have something in the works as far as a bigger future project, because you said you're doing ebooks and stuff. Do you think you might do movies, or maybe a voice in a video game, or something along those lines?
I've done a couple of small video game projects. I've been Turles in 3 Dragon Ball games, which is really fun work. It's really exciting. It's like really energizing. It's kind of like working out while you do voices, because you're just jumping around in the booth and making the effort sounds and then do it. But I've played Turles 3 times now, and I did a video game for Square Enix several years ago that apparently is notorious, but it's called Unlimited Saga. Yeah, that's the that's the reaction everyone gives me. But I was a main character in that one.
It's paid work.
Yeah, it was paid work, and I played this the Paperboy Ventus.
It's not your fault the game sucked.
That's another thing people say often. Yeah. But yeah, I would love to do more. Yeah, I would love to do some big video game work. I would love to do. I'd like to do what is known as prelay animation. Like, I'd like to just do some regular standard American cartoon voices. I would love that. But the only problem with that is logistics. Most of that exists in LA.
Yeah.
And right now I'm getting a lot of work in Houston. Houston's my hometown. I love Houston. And I have a lot of friends in LA, and they're like, dude, don't come here now. Like, everything sucks here right now. And the cost of living is ridiculous, and there's no work. And I'm like, all right, and meanwhile I'm getting all this work in Houston, but yeah, I would love to do some American animation. I'd love it. And definitely more video games.
And do you think you have a possibility for a voice in a movie? Like, because I mean, with all the CGI, like movies
I do. Yeah. I would love to shoot for something like that. Absolutely. I mean,
do you think you have a chance?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
For sure. I mean, you've done a lot of work.
No, I know I have a chance. It's the matter of putting myself in the path of it. You know what I mean? Like, you have to create the it's sort of. That's the thing about acting that a lot of people don't get, is they think, oh, well, I'm talented. Yes, obviously, God, you've got to be talented, or why are you in an artistic field? But they think that they're talented and that stuff's just going to find them. You know, and the thing is, you have to create opportunity for yourself in this world, like, especially in the arts. I mean, you got to be your own go-getter. Like, I've got an agent, yeah, but half the work I get is not from my agent. It's because I'm obsessive about looking for work and looking for new ways in which to use my voice and stuff like that. So yeah, it will happen. It's just, it's gonna take. This is just the first few months of me having said, I'm not focusing at all on anime anymore. I'm gonna use my voice in every other way possible, and like, it's starting to snowball slowly. So I'm just waiting to see where it goes and looking meanwhile on the horizon to where I can push it.
You are now getting out on the out and out. You've done a lot of work inside the industry now.
Yeah.
Where you've seen the industry come along for a while. Where do you think it's going? I mean, I guess leaving it, do you have any criticisms? Is it getting better or worse? I mean,
I should just be honest. I have nothing to lose, really, from being honest. I think it's getting worse. What I've been telling a lot of people for the past few months is that my prediction, as dire and dramatic as it may sound, is that I think what I've been telling people is around 2012, ironically. I'm not trying to be like mystical about it or anything. I'm just saying, I think by about 2012, dubbing anime into English won't even exist anymore. I just don't think the industry can sustain it. I think the industry's falling apart. You know, 2 big houses in Japan just closed, 2 big companies, and really Funimation's pretty much the only game in town anymore as far as.
Oh yeah, all the major companies have been shut down.
Yeah, everything else has really pretty much fallen away. I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of Funimation. I don't know anything about it. I just know I acted there and I have friends that work there. But I don't know how well they're doing.
Is that the primary factor in getting out?
No, it's a factor though. It's absolutely a factor.
It has to be a factor.
It's absolutely a factor. When you see when you know that you have that your talent, your skill set If one thing, I'll be honest with you, and I'm not going to speak for any other actor, but I got cushy about anime. It got to be like, oh man, I can do this till the cows come home, and I'm getting cast in all these different roles. Like I told the last guy, there was a time in '06, I was in like 17 shows at once, and I'm like, man, this is gravy, you know, like, and I can do this. It almost got to be joyless because there was no challenge in it anymore. It was like, oh, you're casting me as another either A, pretty boy, or B, villain. Oh, wow, well, that's hard. You know what I mean? Like, I had to really push to find nuances and differences and to make it a challenge for myself as an artist and an actor. And I'm like, So, yeah, that is a part of it. You start to see the industry crumble, and you're like, well, hell, I need to figure out how else I can use this thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, more power to everyone else who wants to do it, and maybe I'm completely wrong and it's all going to turn around, and that's great, but either way, I'm burnt on it. I burnt myself out. It's like served its purpose in my life, and it's just a chapter that again, like I've said before, and I'm sure I'll say again tonight at the panel, I would imagine, that there's no animosity and there's no bitterness and there's no negativity, but it's just I'm putting that to bed and I'm moving on.
Now, what would you say is the largest contributing factor to the downfall? Like piracy as a whole? Would you say is the biggest?
I would say so. Well, that I'm going to say two things. I'm going to say piracy, which is obviously huge, and people have been trying to warn fans about that for years, of course, to deaf ears. But I also think, and this is maybe the thing that a lot of people don't want to say, anime for a while, between like 04 and 07, it was so trendy. Like, and that's what I mean when I say the bubble is burst. Like, it was everywhere. It was in...
Oh, yeah.
It was
Hot Topic sold cosplay costumes.
Right, exactly. I mean, it was in mainstream pop culture. It wasn't fringe anymore. It wasn't niche anymore. It was everywhere. And not just on TV. I mean, it was just everyone knew what anime. It was being referenced in popular movies. And, like, manga was becoming like... there was, like, a Law and Order that had to do with manga being the cause of a crime or not. You know, it all sort of... It got so big, and that's when I started to think. I was like, this can only go so far, because in the end, it is still niche. No matter how big it's still a niche market. You know what I mean? It's this sort of very different form of art from a tiny island that, you know, that a subculture, if you will, people really seem to love. And for a while, everyone kind of embraced it, and now I think you're starting to see it revert back to what it was before. And that's why I think that by about 2012, there's going to be almost no dubbing anymore, if not none at all.
The true apocalypse.
Right? Like a lot of companies are doing streaming, like Crunchyroll, and even Funimation's doing it. And it's the best way to keep up with the market to help prevent it. Like,
yeah, I think those are all smart things. But
it's too little, too late though. Like it should have been implemented much earlier.